1. Africa is not a country. It's a continent with 54 countries. Still, many people speak of it as one place. 2. Greenland is not green. It's mostly ice. Iceland is greener than Greenland. 3. Mount Everest is not the tallest mountain, base to peak. Mauna Kea in Hawaii is taller when measured from base, under the sea, to summit. 4. The Nile is not the longest river according to some measurements. Some scientists argue the Amazon is actually longer. 5. Australia is not the smallest continent. Antarctica is. Antarctica is smaller in landmass than some people think, despite its vast ice sheet. 6. Russia is not entirely in Europe. About 77% of Russia's landmass is in Asia. 7. Asia is not a country. Yes, people still say this. It's the largest continent with 49 countries. 8. The equator is not the hottest place on Earth. Some desert regions far from the equator are hotter, like Death Valley. 9. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. It's too narrow and follows the natural terrain. 10. There's more desert in Antarctica than in the Sahara. Antarctica is the largest desert, cold desert, not the Sahara. 11. All of Africa is not hot. Some parts, like Lesotho, are high altitude and can be snowy. 12. Europe is not a separate continent geologically. It's part of the same landmass as Asia. Eurasia. 13. The United Kingdom and Great Britain are not the same. Great Britain is the island, England, Scotland, Wales. The UK includes Northern Ireland. 14. Africa is bigger than most maps show. The Mercator projection shrinks it visually. 15. The US is not the only country with a place called Springfield. There are dozens worldwide. 16. India shares a border with China, not just Pakistan and Nepal. 17. You can stand in 4 US states at once. At the 4 corners, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. 18. Mount Everest is not the closest point to space. Due to Earth's equatorial bulge, Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador is closer to space. 19. Not all rivers flow south. Many flow north, like the Nile or the St. Johns River in Florida. 20. There are more people living inside the circle around Southeast Asia than outside it, known as the Valerie Pierres Circle. 21. California is not the westernmost U.S. state. Alaska is. 22. Alaska is also the easternmost U.S. state, because the Aleutian Islands cross the 180 degrees meridian. 23. The Dead Sea is not a sea. It's a lake. A very salty, landlocked lake. 24. The Amazon River doesn't have any bridges over most of its length. 25. You can fit all of the UK into Texas almost 3 times. 26. Continents can move. Australia is drifting 7 centimeters north each year. 27. Iceland has no mosquitoes. Its climate and geology don't support them. 28. You can walk from Russia to Alaska in winter. Across the frozen Bering Strait, dangerous and illegal though. 29. The closest U.S. state to Africa is Maine. 30. Africa is closer to South America than you think. They're separated by only about 2,800 kilometers at the narrowest point. 31. There's a town called Dull in Scotland, twinned with Boring in Oregon. 32. There's a country with no rivers. Saudi Arabia. 33. There's a city in Norway where the sun doesn't rise for months in winter. 34. Lake Baikal in Russia holds more water than all the Great Lakes combined. 35. There's a part of Canada, Nunavut, bigger than any U.S. state. 36. There are more lakes in Canada than in the rest of the world combined. 37. Asia has the highest and lowest points on Earth, Everest and the Dead Sea. 38. You can be in 2 places at once at the Greenwich Meridian. 39. China borders more countries, 14, than any other country except Russia, also 14. 40. Africa can fit the US, China, India, and most of Europe inside it. 41. The Prime Meridian runs through 8 countries. 42. You can visit 3 countries in 1 step in Europe: Germany, Netherlands, Belgium. 43. Lake Titicaca is the highest navigable lake in the world. 44. There's an island in a lake on an island in a lake on an island. It's in the Philippines, Luzon Tal setup. 45. You can find penguins at the equator, on the Galapagos Islands. 46. Africa is the only continent in all four hemispheres. NSEW. 47. More people live in Tokyo than in all of Canada. 48. More people live in Bangladesh than in Russia, despite the size difference. 49. There's a part of the U.S., Point Roberts, Washington, only accessible through Canada. 50. There are two countries completely surrounded by another country, Lesotho, in South Africa, and San Marino, in Italy.